The lame duck Congress has done exactly as many expected, waddled its way through the first full week back at work, leaving veiled hints of actual battles to come and, in essence, doing little to change the course of immigration, health care, foreign policy. Then again, this is only what we see on the surface. Let's dig deeper. Pleasure to welcome into MidPoint the chief congressional correspondent for the Washington Examiner to take us inside the Beltway, the dirty place that it is sometimes. Susan Ferrechio joins us on the show. Susan, thanks so much for being here.
You bet.
Susan, here we go looking for adults in the room these days when it comes down to the Beltway. John Boehner says he's not going to have a shutdown. He'll ask for help from the Democrats. Mitch McConnell says that he's going to get something done. The president is not sure what he's going to... Wait a minute. Let's just stop right there. Who's the adult in the room right now in Washington trying to get something done? Anybody?
Well, I think what they're going to do is pass a government funding bill, which I think most Americans want to be passed, which is going to fund the government in through fiscal 2015, probably with the exception of part of the budget concerning Homeland Security. I think that will be a short-term measure that would expire in March. And I think that they're going to clear a tax bill that would cut taxes for small businesses and individuals. And they'll clear that for the president's signature, most likely this coming week. And I think it's altogether possible that they will clear a defense authorization bill that will authorize funding for the military into 2015. There's a terrorism risk insurance bill that is also looking like it's on the path to passage from Congress as well. So actually in this session, they are getting a few things done. These lame duck sessions typically tend to be about spending, because that's the must-pass stuff before the end of a Congress. The question is, people are looking at the bigger issues. They're saying, well, why aren't they doing immigration reform? And how come they're not tackling some of these larger issues that never, we've been waiting for Congress to deal with, for the past 2 years? Well, that doesn't normally happen in the lame duck sessions. And one of the main reasons is that a lot of the members and the leadership believe it's better to wait for the new lawmakers to come and be part of the decision-making process, because we just had a pretty decisive election in November, and the leadership thinks, well, let's let these members come in and have their say.
Do you get the sense here that, knowing how badly a defeat the Democrats took in the midterms, that people are always asking if quietly there's a little revenge being plotted here, if there are traps being laid with the Democrats to make sure that whatever happens, it's going to be the Republicans' fault, hell or high water? Do you get that sense?
Well, I think politics has gotten really divisive here on Capitol Hill, and I think it's also become quite dominant. Instead of working together and having it be about getting the legislation passed, politics seems to rule the day now. Excuse me. And I think that's part of the problem. Nothing ever gets done. Democrats are looking for ways to make the Republicans look bad. I mean, they're notorious for that. Unfortunately, it gets in the way of a lot of things on Capitol Hill. Republicans are looking to preserve their own political viability as well. So it's both parties that do this. There are a lot of people who say, hey, Republicans, you should be defunding the president's executive action. But they know this is bad politically, because it may lead to a fight over spending, a potential government shutdown, and that would hurt them in the polls. So both parties are guilty of this. They do it in different ways. And I think that's part of the way politics has come to dominate just about everything in Congress now, particularly over the past decade. It's got even more partisan.
I got about 30, 40 seconds left here. Give us an idea of what we are going to see next week, if anything of substance.
Oh, absolutely. I think you'll see them take up and debate spending. We need to fund the government because on December 11th, which is the end of next week, a temporary measure expires. So if we don't do something by then, well, the government will shut down. I don't think that's going to happen. They're going to pass that. There's a defense spending bill, which is really important to our military. I think that will also clear the Congress for the president's desk. And I also think there'll be potentially passage of these 50 or so tax cut measures that affect both individuals and businesses. And it's going to be really important to people when they file their taxes in 2014. It's a short-term measure, but it'll cover you when you file your taxes in January for all kinds of things, including the sales tax deduction, some mortgage deductions, small business deductions, research and development deductions, all kinds of things that help companies and individuals. So
My goodness.
they are getting a lot done, though. They're not getting the real biggies like immigration reform and overall tax reform. They're not tackling that just yet.
The biggies. There we go. Susan, please don't ever give us the idea that something's really happening and getting done in Washington. You'll destroy everything. Susan Ferrechio from the Washington Examiner, thanks so much for joining us. We'll look forward to talking to you again.
Sure, you bet.
All right, take care. And MidPoint will continue.